Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Insights, where we discuss intuition, how you can use it in your life because you are intuitive. This is your host, Megan McDonough, and this week I want to talk a little bit about intuition versus instinct and how to decipher which is which. So, I truly believe that we are all intuitive beings. And the way I explain it is that just like, somebody may be really good at basketball or sports in general, because they came into this earth with an affinity for being athletic. They probably grew up in an environment that catered to that athleticism. But we can all play basketball. We may not be basketball stars. We may not be professional basketball athletes, but we all can understand the game of basketball and utilize our bodies to go through the motions of what the game requires. So I feel the same way about intuition. I feel that we're all intuitive beings. We all have that capacity because it's just energy. Speaking in intuitive ways or talking or feeling or knowing intuitively is really just communicating through the means of energy, which we all have and are surrounded by. That there's also instinct. So instinct is when you feel the need to do something and you just do it innately. So, for example, when a baby is born, it has an instinct to nurse from its mother. You could also call that intuition. It has an intuitive instinct to nurse from its mother. Animals have an instinct to flee. They have an instinct to hunt, to hide, and to procreate. So as animalistic human beings, we all do too, right? We have all those instincts as well. But the difference to me between instinct and intuition is that intuition does not house fear. Instinct can be driven by fear. And sometimes we think what our instinct or intuition is our instinct, meaning if we find ourselves thinking, like, my intuition said this, but it is a fear-based response or fear-based action, that is not intuition. That's instinct, and that's fear. And the instinct is to protect or to defend or whatever, right? Instinct is a survivalist response to the physical world. Intuition is a conversation in the energetic world. The way I know I'm seeing or hearing or feeling intuitively is because there's no judgment or thought or feeling really attached to the answer, to the message. It's just stated cleanly without attachment to any outcome. An example of this is, and this is the best way I found out what the difference was for me, like how I discovered, and it will be different for you and for everybody individually. So you have to kind of experiment and use your body and your energy as a source of experimentation to find out what works best. What helps channel me in the best, most efficient, elevated way in this life, if that's what you choose, obviously. So I was in a class, in an intuitive class, and I was having the hardest time because I was the only one that was online and everyone else was in person. And I was feeling, because I didn't live in the same town, and I was feeling very upset because um, they were all planning to get together for this class and I was going to be on Zoom. And I was like, don't you understand that, like, that's weird? Like, like it's one thing if you're on Zoom and everybody else is on Zoom, then you're all kind of on the same playing field. But if, like, you're the only one on Zoom, it's just the experience is massively different. Like, it's just different. Like, my analogy to that was like, look, if you're skinny dipping and everyone else is skinny dipping, you feel totally fine, right? You don't think like, hey, I'm naked here. Like, it doesn't come up because you're all doing it. But if you're skinny dipping and everybody else has got their swimsuit on, you're going to feel pretty naked real fast, right? So I was getting all up in arms with this teacher, like, why are you doing this? Are you not hearing me? Are you not understanding why I'm upset by this? And the teacher kept saying, look at it intuitively, look at it. And I was like, ugh, whatever. It's not going to be different. It's not going to be different. This is what I feel and I know inside me. But I was like, okay, fine. So I sat down and I meditated and I looked at this issue, right? And I waited for my answer. And I had all this chaos and all this drama around the fact that I was so right, and that their perspective was limited. And when I sat down and meditated and looked at it in an intuitive space, in a cleared out space, a meditative space, I saw that it didn't matter. I immediately became detached from all my ideas, and that it was more important for the people who were in person to be in person than it was for me to cause a stink about being online. And what I saw was they needed it more than I did. And so I sat back and I was like, oh, okay, that's it. And the answer was clear. There was no drama. There was no up in arms about, why can't you see my point of view? And honestly, it was just the most delightful way to look at things. And after that experience, I was like, oh. My instinct that was enmeshed with my fight for my physical survival and my fear was masquerading as my intuition. But intuition is quiet. It is not loud. Intuition is soft. It can be forceful and direct and intense. But there's a detachment around it. There's no attachment to emotions. And when you're able to communicate in this way and see things in this way and stop before you get all drama, and I'm not saying I do it every day because I don't. I wish we all did this all the time. It would make life so much easier. But it's just not the way we're trained. So we really have to work hard against the grain to stop before we get enmeshed in the drama and look at something, whether it's a personal issue, a global issue, whether it's to do the thing or to not do the thing. Is this beneficial for me? Is it not? Instead of winding ourselves up all in our heads, sitting down and being with it, just being with it. being an energetic conversation with whatever it is that's on your path, whatever it is that is troubling your mind, and allow yourself to have an energetic conversation. Allow yourself the space to listen to what it has to say, whatever it is. You can use this with relationships. When you have no idea how to communicate with someone and you're at a loss, instead of getting wrapped up in the physical world and the he said, she said, they did this, they did that, and what those things do is they just immerse yourself deeper into emotion and attachment to emotion. And that attachment to emotion, that instinct to attach to emotion and to survive, makes it very hard to see and hear the little energetic conversation and nugget of truth that's right in front of you. I find this comes in handy, especially when you've got like a he said, she said situation. And you just sit with it and look at the person and their energy, not their personality, but their energy. And then their true intention comes forth. Whether it was confused or misguided by their actions or whatever it may be. And then you start feeling the love for them. You start finding the connection with them. Fear separates, love connects. Love listens, fear talks. Our instincts are beautiful. And they're a way for us to go, oh, we're on the right path. But to go deeper onto that path, to listen more quietly, more intuitively, we have to get quiet and slow down and detach and see the beauty where we can. Find the connections where we can. Find the love where we can. When you tap into this form of communication, soul-self communication, having a conversation with spirit or God, whatever you want to call it, right? Energetic conversation. Creativity overflows from you. Confidence arises, lines soften. The world becomes more colorful. But it's a challenge to keep it up because we're not in a world that works and operates this way. We're moving towards it. And as we move towards it, the more we entangle ourselves with instincts, it's going to be more difficult to see clearly and to connect. The power of intuition is within you. All you have to do is listen. Okay, that's it for this week. If you have any questions on intuition versus instinct or any insights you'd love to share, I'd love to hear them at Magnetize Your Light on Instagram or Facebook. or you can email me at info@magnetizeyourlight.com. If you'd like to join our community of like-minded creative intuitives and deepen your listening to spirit or intuition skills, you can find all that information on the community tab on my website, magnetizeyourlight.com. I hope you have a magical week. Big buckets of love. I'll talk to you soon.